So your artist wants you to produce their project with your full investment and solely on the idea. They're the best thing you'll ever do. Why would anyone ever do that? Welcome to the Music Pro, where we offer professional recording objectives to help you discover your own creative and technical hacks to produce your best tracks and conduct your best business. I'm your host, Shay Alexander Wright, and today we're going to talk about a different and to some a touchy topic: production on spec. Now, what do I mean by spec? Well, spec is short term for speculation. It is typically the term we use when a creative or developer, like a music producer, agrees to work a project on contingency with the expectation of a recording contract and or some commercial success. Kind of like a lawyer who takes a fee only if they win the case. So why would anyone ever do that? Well, the truth is, a number of us have. And in my case, a lot. To answer the question, I've taken this position every time because I really believe in all the artists I've worked with. And I see them beyond their potential to realize their talents in spectacular ways. And I believe in myself, in the skills, expertise, and vision I possess to hopefully help make something remarkable and inspiring for anyone who hears it. So, how do you know you're in a spec situation? Well, if you're doing work and not getting paid for it at any point in the process, whether it's at the time of the session or in some sort of arrangement after a deposit, you're working on spec. And anytime you're receiving payment discounted way beyond reasonable standards, yeah, even then, you're working on spec. At times, I found myself buying into this old trap of a Quincy Jones quote: the minute somebody brings up money, God leaves the room, or something to that effect. Well, what I've certainly learned the hard way is it's something people say in the types of situations which afford them the ability to operate on such a notion in the first place. This is also coming from an icon who I respect a lot, who for a very long time was producing projects supported by big budgets from big companies with big marketing plans. And believe me, as brilliant as all those records are, it was marketing and promotion that took that music to the top. So take everything in context is what I'm saying. Remember, time is money, and any amount of time you spend working on something holds value in currency. We can tend to get caught up in the trap of bartering our time with people. And what we forget in the process is that time is not really something that can be exchanged unless both parties can afford the exchange of time for themselves. See, I can pay you back for your time, but I can't give you back the time I've taken from you. Chapter 3 in my book, The Collaboration, details how to set the production value of your project so that you can adequately and effectively meet some commercial value in it. Now, here are just a couple of nuggets to kind of keep you out of the sand traps on this thing. First thing is talk. And in this talk, make sure the artist understands what it is that you as the producer are bringing to the situation. Joe Elliott of Def Leppard has articulated this better than anyone I've ever heard speak on it. He says the reason you hire a producer in the first place is to make you sound better than yourself. So don't be afraid to say how much your time and talents cost. And you don't need accolades to substantiate your value. If your work is dope, the qualification speaks for itself. And if your fees and or rates can always be negotiated based on people's budgets. Just make sure that any negotiated discounts make sense to your bottom line. And look, realistically, it takes at the very least 2 to 3 hours to get anything substantial done. So one session of your time should be able to cover the cost of a couple of your bills at minimum. And if anyone disagrees with your value, hey, that's on them. Politely show them the door and keep it moving so that you're open to receive the next artist or project who does get the value in your work. Second thing is, don't stagnate. Yeah, some points in the process can take a little longer than others, but be sure not to sit in one place too long. A lot of times we get hung up on something and there's a tendency to do what I call stretching the clock. You start giving away free hours to compensate for the delay. Before you know it, you double the session time for half the money, which might already be really discounted in the first place. So remember, the The clock is ticking at more than $1 a minute, and every minute you're not getting your worth is a minute of time you'll never get back. Now, if you are doing a project on spec, just make sure you treat it as an investment and quantify it by incorporating project orders and logs. I use a really good app called Tapforms to handle this, but there are a lot of apps out there that will get the job done as well. Artists don't always understand, see, that anything that they're not paying for, you are. And I can guarantee any money that they've spent on the project outside of sessions pales in comparison to the time and money you've invested on spec. For more in-depth look at handling spec arrangements and other ways to look after yourself and the artists you're working with, hit the link below. Check out my book, The Collaboration, from the Complete Artist Development Series. And I want to hear you guys' opinions on this. Feel free to share any comments and experiences you might have had. If you like this topic, hit that button. And feel free to subscribe to updates or for updates for new discussions. Till next time, thanks for stopping by.